Hey guys, welcome back to the RV8 Pilot. Continuing the videos of the modifications I did on my RV8. This video is just going to show two of the things I did on the tail of the aircraft. One's the empennage fairing and another one's an access window that I did. The fairing just veered from the plans just a little bit on how I attached it. And as always, if you like these videos, click the subscribe button, click the little bell icon so you get notifications when these videos come out. And as always, do your research on these. If you're going to make modifications to your airplane, make sure you have the information, the research, and understand what you're doing. I'm not an A&P, I'm not a professional, so I'll just show you the things that I did, but you do your research for your airplane. All right, let's take a look. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you're funny.
We're doing it! We're doing it!
All right, guys, here we are on Man of War, the RV8, taking a look. And we're looking back here on the empennage. You got the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical stabilizer here. And to clean up the connection between these two, make it look slick, you use a fiberglass fairing, which is this piece here coming around here. And this is the stock fairing from Vans. And the modifications I did to it, for one, was, if you notice, there's no fasteners along here. So in the stock plans, what you would do is have nut plates that screws along the edge here would go into, just like you see at the very end here and at this one here. I didn't like the way that looked. I didn't like how when the aircraft sits in the sun, this fiberglass will expand and contract. And you'll notice when you see airplanes sit out in the sun, they'll have little buckles here or kind of puckering, which brings it away from the metal. And I just didn't like the way that looked. When you got the fairing from Vans, the fiberglass will come along here and it basically ends right here. And underneath the horizontal, to bridge that gap, you would use a rubber seal, just as you do along the wing attach where it connects up to the fuselage. So it's just a little rubber seal. I didn't like the way that looked. So what I decided to do was to merge a piece of fiberglass, actually it was a layup, from this corner here all the way back. And if you can see up underneath here, that fiberglass goes all the way along to the very end back here. And I have a couple screws, two on the top here, which is the bottom of the horizontal, and one along the side here. And then this wraps around all the way to the back. And you can see the screw attachment points here. By making this, if you want to call it a big C, where it curves around in the shape of a C there, it holds it in place nice and tight. The other thing you can do with that, once you get it tight, is you can really fill in these edges here with, in my case, I use fiber fill and flocks to get that super tight to both surfaces here and here, as well as along the top. It's super secure, it doesn't move, it's nice and tight, the gaps stay the same all the time. And I only have a couple screws, 3 on the bottom and it looks like 4 on the top, that hold this in place. And it's really the C shape that's really holding it really nice and tight up in there. One challenge with this is, for those of you who either are building or have built, you know that this fiberglass piece back here from Vans normally drops all the way down to meet the aluminum that goes right here. And so this piece is quite a bit larger than where mine is right here. Because I made it a C, with this piece dropped down here on the fiberglass, it made it a little bit difficult. I really had to flex that out and hold it up a little bit as I slid the whole fairing forward to remove it. So to fix that, I cut the fiberglass here, and let me lift up the elevator here. This panel here, this access panel, normally stops right here. It's just flat here and comes down along. So what I did is I used the same thickness aluminum and laid out this from the stock template there and continued this piece up here. So now this is all one piece here. So these two screws, this piece will stay, then I can remove the fiberglass real easy going back there. So this is not stock piece. From here down would have been stock. I just copied it with an addition of this piece coming up here all as one piece. And that solved that issue of this fiberglass not having to flex it so much when I remove the fairing. So yeah, that's one modification I did. I just like the clean look, not a lot of screws in there, and more importantly, I don't get that buckling from the sun beating down on there and causing that. So that's the thing you'll see a lot on fiberglass parts I've noticed, is they sit out in the sun and it starts buckling. Doesn't do any damage and they go back to flat. I think it's just the expansion of the fiberglass itself. You have it nice and tight in a shop, and then you get out in the sun and it heats up and you get the expansion, you get the buckling, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So I thought this was a much cleaner look. Again, not my idea. My buddy Glenn did this on his first airplane, so I liked it and just kind of took the idea and ran with it. It's a lot more fiberglass, and learning how to lay up and make that little piece up underneath the bottom there. I think it's probably 4 or 5 layers of 3-inch tape that I end up laying up in there, and then a lot of sanding, a lot of filling, a lot of shaping to get it how I liked. All right guys, here we are on the right side of the aircraft, looking at that same fairing. Again, nice and clean, no screws, fasteners along the whole edge, either along the horizontal or the vertical, except for just the 4 in the back there, super clean. Same process. Again, it's the same thing back here. I cut the fiberglass down so that's flush here and made this new panel just as I did on the other side, and then just have these 3 fasteners here. Difference on this panel back here, if you can see, again, I did the same thing. Normally it's flush here and I use it as a template, and then made this all as one piece. The only difference here is now you can see this clear plexiglass round hole we put in there, and that allows me to see the bolt and nut on the inside of that area right there. So that's my elevator control rod end that's bolted there, so I can see the nut on there, as well as a torque seal I have placed on there after I finish torquing it. So you can still do your pre-flight where you're able to check the play between the left and right. This just gives you one more thing that you can use to visually see the bolt and nut in there that they both have been secured. All right guys, now you can see I have that access panel from the right side of the aircraft off, and now you can see the full shape here. This would have been the normal shape of the access panel, just flat across here, and now this is all continued on as one piece. Started out flat here, and then I just removed material here so that the elevator horns would not touch this area here, and got good clearance on all that. And normally this would all be solid, obviously, like I said. So with the fiberglass fairing that I put up here where I cut it, normally it came all the way down. I put a couple nut plates in up here for those number 8 screws to attach that fiberglass fairing there. And then now you can see how I attached this piece of plexiglass or Lexan. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's from Home Depot. And so it's just a couple number 6 screws with nylocks on them, and then I countersunk those. Those are dimpled there, and then I countersunk the plexi so that it would sit in there. Some guys, mention, hey, maybe you could glue it, do something like that versus using 2 more screws. I just didn't want this thing to drop. If the glue came undone and dropped down in there, potentially causing something to bind up, pretty unlikely, but at least with these screws, I eliminate that chance of that glue failing. So something like Pro Seal maybe. But yeah, that's it. So there's just one more thing I did along with the fiberglass fairing on the back to make it a little easier, make it cleaner look for me. And yeah, so now you can get a little better view of what you're looking at when you're looking for the bolt and nut in there, and just having that access to it. One more thing you can look at, obviously it's not required, it's not part of the plans, If you're concerned about the bolt, there will be some wiggle in there when you're moving the elevator. So that's one way to tell. This was just another visual cue for us to look at. Makes it super easy and just kind of fun doing your own modifications. So, all right, well, there's 2 modifications for you, and I'll try to do some more videos. Hopefully the weather will be better here in Chicagoland. It's been pretty rainy and icky for the last few days, so we haven't done much flying, but hope to get some more videos out for you guys. As always, if you like the videos, click the subscribe buttons. It really helps us out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, safe flying and building, and if you have any questions, reach out. All right, thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it.